A very good evening to you. Welcome to the FKF PL review show. My name is Robinson Okenye. We are going to take a look at what happened in round 9 of the league action. And in studio, I'm with Cedric Musumba. Good evening, Cedric.
Good evening, Robinson.
How are you doing?
Very much fine.
Last week, remember, you mentioned that we had a number of goals that was scored in round 8, but in round 9, the goals were not coming.
Yeah, it's a sign of defense that are trying to correct the mistakes that have been there. And it's also a kind of indication of improvement by, match by match, which is also bring a kind of fluidity that we have been looking for. And moving forward, maybe there will be more difficulties for strikers to start penetrating those defense and making more goals.
Also joining us on the show is Rogers Ishtemi. Good evening, Rogers.
Good evening, Robbie.
How are you? How was your weekend?
It was superb as usual because it was a sport weekend.
Yes. So we want to get into the thick of things this evening. It's all about Football Kenya Federation Premier League. And in just a bit, we'll be speaking to Gor Mahia captain, that is Kenneth Muguna. Now, gentlemen, we want to quickly begin with the tie between Gor Mahia and Vihiga, a tie that the champions lost. Before we speak to Muguna, Eshtemi, quickly, what do you make of that result for Gor?
I think nobody saw that coming because Gor Mahia are heading to that match as a favorite, having won their last 2 matches under new coach Pinto. The confidence was high, but I think complacency sometimes, that's what leads to complacency. If you become complacent, maybe going to match as favorite, you're just punished by maybe the minors. And for Viga, it is a self-relief for Coach Samuel Court because he has really been looking for such wins against big teams. Remember, this was their second win of the season, having maybe lost by a bigger margins and also having had a very bad away record. So for them, I think it is a plus, and the coach will be so happy on how these players carried themselves on that day against the champions.
Cedric, did you expect this result?
It was a result not really scripted as Rogers puts it. But and again, having sat down for the first 15 minutes and watched how Vihiga actually was playing, to me it was a rekindle of a tactical game approach that actually Gor did not really notice very early in the game and maybe try to change the formation. Because actually Vihiga wasn't in to win, but was in to frustrate Gor and maybe try and target Gor at the dying minutes of the game, which actually they did, and win the match. Because if you go, they actually strategically try to cut all the supplies that Gor has been making to their strikers and frustrating the likes of Tito Kello. At some point, you could see Gor strikers actually, out of frustration, start just actually firing blanks without intention, and that's what really Vihiga needed. And also, I was really so enticed to the level of composure, strength, and the confidence the Vihiga strikers actually had in front of goal. You realize even their winning goal, actually, they were not in a hurry to place it behind the net. Likes of David Simiyu, the pair of David Simiyu and Dennis Simiyu, they were actually combining very well at the front, and they would play as if they were playing a team of their match.
So, Robbie, yes. I think my friend Cedric has forgotten to mention about the defensive frailties of Gor Mahia. Gor Mahia have been conceding very simple goals. I don't know what their defenders have been doing all along. Now
that we do have a Gor Mahia captain, that is Kenneth Muguna. Let's speak to him. Kenneth Muguna, welcome to the FKF review show right here on KTN News. I mean, we want to get into the thick of things of the results from the weekend. What do you feel did not work for you guys over the weekend that you lost to Vihiga?
First of all, thank you very much for having me. And all I can say is that sometimes football match is like that. You can't take away from Vihiga United. They are a good team. They came to Nairobi they were compact over the weekend, and they made it difficult for us maybe to penetrate and maybe find those spaces behind them. But that's how it is, you know. Some matches are just not meant to be won. Maybe it was their lucky day, so there's nothing we could do.
And how can you summarize the season so far for Kogalo?
I think so far it's fair. all I can say it's 50-50 because we have played around 6 matches. We have won 3 and we have lost 3. Though it's not at that level, as you know. In Gor Mahia, the fans want you to win all the matches, but this is not the case. But going forward, I think we'll rectify our mistakes.
You are one of the players at Kogalo who served under different coaches, and right now you are under Vaz Pinto. What can you say of the new system that is trying to instill in you guys?
First of all, he's a great coach, and you know, for him also he played the game, so that's a plus also because he understands even football better. And right now the players are trying to get into how he wants the team to play, and everybody is positive.
Yes.
Even though we started well with him against Madare, but now he has picked his first loss last Sunday. But I think with time, I think we'll get to know him more, and maybe the players will adapt to the system that he wants us to play.
Muguna, you are also one of the players at Gor Mahia who remained at the end of last season. We saw some players leave, and right now you have new players at Kogalo. How do you feel the gelling has been for you guys?
It has been tough. It has been tough, as you know. We lost very important players for the group, and those who have came in, I think so far it's been good, but not to that level. But I know with time they'll find their way in the team. As you can see, some of them have already scored some goals for us.
Yes.
So it's just a matter of time, because you know players are different. There are some guys that maybe once they get in and they just hit the road, but some they need time maybe to be at that level.
Now, Gor Mahia has also been known to turn results around. So far, you've lost 3 games. Do you feel like, you are going to retain this title?
First of all, we can't talk about the title right now because the league has just started. I think the teams that have played the highest number of matches, I think, are 8. And we know that for us to win the league, we have to start winning matches, because that's the most important thing. You know, the league, it's too long to think about it at early stages. But all we have is our focus. We know that we have a match on Wednesday,
yes,
and we need so that we can at least bring back the confidence that we had before. So we are taking each game at a time, and we are not thinking about the league.
No, thinking about the league. Before I let you go, Ken, you are playing a Zoo next. Should we expect maximum points in that tie?
Of course, that's why we play the game. We want to win each and every match, and for me to say that we are not going for the maximum points, I think it's a wrong indication. For me, I'm very positive that the group will achieve our goal on Wednesday, which is to take the 3 points.
And most people feel that at the moment your defense is not working the way it's expected to. You've conceded 11 goals, you've scored 9 goals. So are we going to see this change going forward?
I think when you say that the defense is not good, I think it's not. You are being unfair to our defenders, because for us to defend, I think we need to start in front. We have to be tight, because you know you can't just leave the defensive work for the defenders alone. It will be very difficult. But I think overall, if we are conceding goals, then it means that as a team we are not doing our defensive duties. So I can't just say that we have defensive problems. I think it's an overall problem for the whole team. So it's a challenge for all of us, the strikers, the midfielders, everybody in the team.
Well, of course, thanks a lot. That is Kenneth Muguna, who's the captain for Gor Mahia. Looking forward to seeing you in action in your next game. That will be on Wednesday against Zucaricho. Thanks a lot, Ken, for your time. We want to continue this conversation. We are taking stock of the results from the match. played over the weekend, and that was in round 9. And Shtemi, I want to bring your attention into this, and it's about what Muguna has mentioned, that yes, it is all about collective responsibility. What do you make of that?
Robbie, I like the honesty in Muguna because as a captain and a player who's been in this game for a while, he understands the games very well. Because as a captain also, you can't just shift the blame to an individual or other department. Rather than taking it as a collective responsibility, I think he understands where the pain is and what is the problem. And since he has said that defensive duty needs to start from the front, the strikers need to do their job. Let them score goals first and then come to defend. Let the midfielder do their job, supply the balls and then defend. And the defenders, make it tight for the opposition strikers. Goalkeeper, try your best and maybe avoid these easy goals. If the coordination between the defenders, the midfielders, the strikers and the goalkeeper maybe clicks, then Gor Mahia can be into this until the final match of the season. But at the moment, it's really, really tough for them.
Yes, sir. Cedric, before we move on, Gor Mahia has been known to always turn results around. Do you see that happening, and that we should not be worried at the moment?
First, Ruby, before I come to your question, I will first start by commending Muguna for the interview he has just given you right now. It's a sign of some level of maturity that we have been looking for if it comes to leadership in a team.
Yes.
Actually, I've liked to the essence that he has pointed out the area that he feels they were not really working for them, the area that he feels that should be worked upon, and at least make them start collecting points. And on top of that,
yes,
he has been very, very, very careful not actually to bring each and every playing unit down to the essence by, as in casting spell upon their teammates. That's a sign of a captain who really leads by example and actually assembles a team that really wants to start bringing results back to their fans. And now, going back to Gor Mahia,
yes,
as Muguna has actually put it, it's just a matter of time if they try to sit down, go back to the drawing board, try to assess where they actually rain started beating them, and make those mistakes, turn around those mistakes to be prospect of profitable,
yes,
moving forward as they tackle match after match. Because actually, he might say that there was no defensive error, but watching them playing, it is vividly their defenders actually, they are not either communicating, not necessarily that they are not good at ball, but either they are not communicating or they are not doing what I normally like referring to as zonal marking. Strikers actually leaves them easily, and sometimes they find they give a lot of space to their offensive opponents, yes, thereafter conceding goals. And to the essence, as he has also actually alluded to, the role of defending is not ultimately left to defenders. A team should defend as holistically as a team, to an extent that all teams should attack as a team and defend as a team. Even midfielders should do their role. Now that he's pairing to the likes of Ernest Wendo, yes, he needs to talk to Ernest Wendo as in to start commanding the team from the center so that they can give a second defensive line to the defenders. If at all the defenders were making those mistakes, him as a captain, he needs actually to start communicating to them even before those mistakes arises.
Robbie,
yes,
let's just hold on that. Just yes, look how that goal they conceded.
Yes.
That's just a reflection of how Gor Mahia have been defending. What were those two defenders doing? Actually, this Sydney, he's a midfielder. What was he doing there in the central defensive place of the team? And at the same time, I'm seeing Geoffrey Ocheng. He allowed his opponent to feel so comfortable where he was. And then look at Tito Okello. Tito Okello was off position. He's the one who put the Viga players onside and made it so easy for Simiu to score the goal.
Yes.
So actually, defensive errors in Gor Mahia team will cost them very, very much. And they are making the goalkeeper work to be so difficult.
So let's move on to the other results from the weekend. And Kakamega Homeboys got a win against Bidco, and 2-0 was the final score. Eshtemi, your thoughts on this result?
I think Kakamega Homeboys is also another team that has been blowing hot and cold, and the win against Bidco will somehow give them the motivation and the confidence heading to the next match. Yes. You understand, These are teams that last season they gave the likes of Gor Mahia and Tusker a run for their money for the title. They really pushed them to the limit. But now them starting this season, actually haven't seen the real Kakamega Homeboyz we know, because you understand Western is a hotbed of talent, and being there, having watched them play some of the matches, and also maybe the talent that is around that team, I think they should be grinding out results each and every time. But now you see where they're lying at the moment. I think they had gone like 6 matches without winning, but now beating Bidco, I think it is a big boost for them. Let's wait and see what happens in the next game.
Let's wait and see what happens in the next game. Cedric, I want us to take a look at Sofapaka, that is Batoto Bamungu. They recovered from round 8's loss to Nzoia Sugar to get a 1-0 win against City Stars. Your thoughts on that?
Sofapaka actually is a collective of talent. It's one of the teams that was actually busy during the transfer period, actually trying to scout around the best, collecting the best out of the best, and trying to assemble a squad that will win them as in a league. Yes. And I think Kalekwa, where he sits, he knew that the player that his technical bench had dropped in will actually put a smile on his face at the end of the season. It's not a team actually that should be registering a flip-flop kind of a result, whereby today they have won, tomorrow they have lost, and everything. It is now operating like a 50-50 team. Them actually going to Nairobi City Stand collecting a point, I think it shouldn't be seen as a turnaround, because we have seen them winning and losing. They need to be consistency and formidable. It's a team actually that has all the players. Remember, at some point when Lawrence Juma started scoring, we thought that maybe that was now the light at the end of Sofapaka's tunnel, and they would have picked from there and maybe start bringing results. Yes. But then again, they went ahead and flopped. It's a team that is not really consistency. They have not actually shown us the mantle that we know of Sofapaka of 1999. The
2009, the one that won the
2009, the one that won the title. It's a Sofapaka that has not really gone back to where we used to see them comfortably sitting.
Now, Ishtemi, when we were off air, we were having this discussion, and it's about the result that we want to take a look at. And this, your exact words, that KCB beating Western Stima should not be news. It's something that should be expected.
KCB are on form, they are on fire, so that is a routine win. Nobody maybe thought that they will lose. Of course, you've had those behind-the-scene issues that surrounded the game about match fixing and all those shenanigans. But at the end of the day, I think KCB, they deserve the win, because they are on form. They had lost to FC Leopards, and they needed to respond very fast. And that is exactly what those boys gave Zico. And now you see the league is it's coming more interesting at the top. Now they are at 21 points, and then Tusker 20, FC Leopards and maybe Caribbean Sharks are there with 15 points. So it's very interesting. And for KCB being at the top, that is always very pivotal for them. Remember, it's not the first time KCB are being at the top. The previous seasons, they have been doing like so. So this season, I think maybe there should be something different, because you don't want to be seeing them as pace setters. They have what it takes. They have the quality. They have the tactician, and they have the motivation for maybe the sponsors. So it's upon those players to prove themselves on the pitch and do what is expected. Remember also, this team is not only banking on one person to score goals. It is a rotational responsibility. Today, maybe Abuko scores. Tomorrow, Henry Onyango will score. The other day, maybe we'll expect Otanga Derek to do the job. So I think it is a well-oiled team that doesn't rely on an individual. Teamwork is working for KCB.
Teamwork is working for KCB. Now, Tusker got a win against Zoo, and right now, at the moment, only 1 point separates Tusker and KCB, with Tusker lying second or with 20 points, while KCB is top with 21 points. Cedric, Tusker are slowly squeezing out the points to themselves.
I think it's a team that actually has now shown us some level of consistency. And it's a team just similarly, just like KCB. Yes. It's a team that is producing actually the fluidity that you need to watch. A team that is a complete in all sort of departments. It's a team that when it's on ball, and their passes that they are trying to supply with their strikers are quite encouraging and actually good to watch. For a team, any team that wants to challenge this particular league should actually work like Tusker. For instance, Tusker actually, we remember, they lost their first match to FC Leopard, and as in Pandit started actually ruling them out simply because the way they played and how actually they easily lost, because remember they were the first to score.
Yes.
But then again, they have recollected themselves, because I remember Matano actually telling us that they were playing as if that was their pre-season. And at some point, we maybe ruled them out. We thought that maybe he was not really quite serious. But he has come by age actually to show us the correct measures of Tusker and how Tusker are really angry for this particular league come this season. It's a team that is picking a match after match. They are actually improving match after match. And I also like how their midfielders actually are distributing balls to their striker. We have been talking about the Henry Major scoring, but guys are really forgetting about the Luke Namanda. If you look if you look how this particular boy actually makes his runs, how he distributes goal, and sometimes even when given spaces, he aims on the targets. That's why they end up to actual scoring. When Majak has actually not been featuring into this particular team for quite a number of matches now. But you could still see Tusker scoring goals and coming out of that each and every match that they have actually tackled victoriously. It shows a team that is out there to challenge for this particular league come this season.
Yes. Different with my colleague Cedric on what he said about Tusker, that we had ruled them out. I remember vividly that I spoke about Tusker having started the season so earnest, whereby they didn't have time for preseason. And I told them, Cedric here, that from the look of things, maybe Tusker are going to start gaining ground maybe after the third match or so. And trust you may not, it has come to pass, because they have gone like 7 matches without dropping points. So that tells you this team was ready for the season, though there was some disruption of COVID-19. But where they are right now, it's one of the team to beat. Just watch this space.
Are you calling yourself a prophet?
Not really.
Yes.
But panditry is one of the prophets we have in this world.
Now let's move on to the other result from the weekend. And Cedric, FC Leopards got a 2-0 win against Kariobangi Sharks in a tie that was played at the Kasarani Stadium in Nairobi. What do you make of this win for Ingwe?
I've always said, like yesterday week, I talked about FC Leopard actually not giving us the fluidity that we will want from a team of FC caliber. But it seems as if it's their tactical approach, because without even us producing the fluidity, they are still coming out with the results. It tells you they are actually tackling a game depending on their opponent. If the opponents are too tough, they try to see the area that they can destroy them. For instance, their last Sunday match, having watched them playing actually Kariobangi Sharks, somebody will take Kariobangi Sharks had a lot of a lot of time on ball. They actually spread ball very nicely, and they were trying actually to give a ball that meet an eye. But for FC Leopard, they were out to win that particular match simply because they would cut out all the supply areas of Kariobangi Sharks, and they would ensure that they neutralize the attacking prowess of Kariobangi Sharks. Literally, Kariobangi Sharks were reduced to play at the center of the pitch, which is not the Kariobangi Sharks that we are used to. Yes. We saw them playing against Gor Mahia. They could move ball around the pitch. They could actually distribute it. They could even change wings at a will. Yes. But when they were playing with FC Leopard, we like the likes of Zachary and Mazembe, they were frustrated. Barely could you see Zachary trying to do what Rogers like referring to as utility runs. We could see even Mazembe at some points, not actually as in coming near to the D area. That shows you the kind of tactical approach that FC Leopard was actually trying to give Kariobangi Sharks. And it gave Kariobangi Sharks some difficulties actually to enjoy their games, and later on ended up losing the game. And again, I will also try to talk of a team going to a match with several options. This option, you need to have either option A, B, and C, whereby if A fails, you can jump into C. For instance, Kariobangi Sharks come to play FC Leopard with only one formula, and the formula of trying to bring tiki-taka on the pitch. Where tiki-taka fails, they did not think of any other option. If I were the technician of Kariobangi Sharks, I could think of even bypassing the FC Leopard midfield, simply because they could not go past their midfield.
Yes.
They could even think of raising the ball to the aerial, simply because their pass, okay, they were doing their passes very nicely on the ground, but those passes were ending nowhere. They were being frustrated at the D area of FC Leopard and losing the ball. That is something that they could have thought very fast and maybe change their formula.
I think
they could maybe have worked for them.
Cedric, we need to give credit to Said Thuma because he was the chief destroyer in the midfield. He never allowed the Kariobangi Sharks players like maybe Eric Juma, Peter Luasa to do their job. So he really made it difficult for them completely, whereby they couldn't find those penetrating passes to their marksman, Eric Kapaito, who also, I think he was also put in the pocket by the FC defenders, the likes of Kamura. Kamura, who never gave him a chance. Maybe each moment here, Kapaito had the ball, Kamura forcefully took the ball from him. And also, I think we need also to give praise to Kamura, because you see, most of the time, his long balls have resulted into goals. And that one ball he gave to Rupia, it was like a turning point for FC Leopard. Once they scored fast, it gave them the confidence and maybe the belief that, hey, guys, we can do this. And that is what. And now, let's look at how they considered the second goal for Kariobangi Sharks. That was poor defensive display by this youngster, Shafan Oyugi. Because you can't do that in a match of this magnitude. And then after being dispossessed by Jafari, you give him room to do anything with that ball. And Jafari made no mistake. You see the goal he gave? That was a wonder goal. Kudos to Jafari.
Yes, I wanted to ask you if we are appreciating that goal and the way it was scored. Do you feel like we are appreciating it? I mean, were it somewhere else that could be probably making headlines?
It is a rare goal. We rarely see such goals in maybe FKF PL. But now these players are trying to bring the flair to us. We always see this type of goals maybe in EPL, La Liga, Bundesliga, but now it is here with us. Let's watch the matches. Those who can go to the stadium, attend the matches as well.
Robbie, I can only give credit to that goal to the essence that the player took his time and as in know where to place that particular ball. And like what we have been discussing previously, whereby the player could actually get the ball and doesn't really concentrate to where to put that ball at the end of it. For instance, when Jeffrey Witt actually got hold of that particular ball, the first instant that he did is to look where the goalkeeper was and try to play that ball behind the goalkeeper. It has been a rare situation in FKF PL to see as in a player playing like that. But also, it was just as a result of mistakes at the defense, as Rogers puts it.
Yes.
Remember, the two goals, they were due to defense lapses. For instance, Oluwande, what he did for the first goal is the similar thing that happens to the dying minutes of the Kariobangi Sharks. Maybe somebody might argue out that Kariobangi Sharks were trying to play high line, trying to go and equalize, which has been the obvious team that is trying actually to chase for an equalizer, and then they were caught off guard.
What do you make of the discipline of FC Leopards? Cedric?
The discipline, actually, I try to trace the yellow card that Fabrice Mugeni got. Up to now, I don't understand where it came from because he was on a yellow card. But now the second yellow card is what actually, I didn't actually get how he ended up getting it.
I think he badmouthed the referee.
Maybe, but even the cameras were not showing us. Actually, I was not clear enough how he ended up getting that yellow card.
It was bad-mouthing. I think he confronted the referee, and that is how it ended. I think at some moment he forgot that he was on a yellow card. And luckily for him, the time was also running down, and Jafari Owiti somehow saved his blushes with that wonder goal. So I believe discipline is key. If by chance FC will have conceded that moment, then Mugeni will be under a lot of criticism right now.
Of course, we are talking about FC Leopards. Remember, at the moment, they are placed fourth on the log with 15 points. We want to take a look at the other results from the ties that were played over the weekend, and we want to take a look at Wazito. Remember, they got a win against Nzoia. Eshtemi, what do you make of this Wazito side? They are slowly grinding out a result game by game.
Robbie, though the round of 8 had a lot of goals, but I think these defensive lapses, the frailties being displayed by most of the teams is not that way pleasing, because you find Nzoia took the lead. They took an early lead in the first half, and definitely they had come to Nairobi maybe to pick the maximum point. They love themselves to blame because their mistakes brought Wazito back into the game. Kevin Kimani equalized via the penalty, and then Waivoni Souza maybe managed to win it for Kimanzi. But now, also give credit to Kimanzi because that was his 4th consecutive win, and now they're really showing those signs of contesting for the title. But as we know, FKF PL is a tricky league whereby you can't just maybe start celebrating as early as right now. Let's wait for maybe the next 2 matches or so, then we can make our judgment. But for Nzoia, it was a sad story for them because they actually tried to dominate that game. They frustrated Wazito, but now experience carried the day for Wazito.
Experience carrying the day for Wazito in that tie that they got a win against Nzoia. Cedric, now that we are talking about scarcity of goals in March week 9, there are teams that for the last 2-3 games, goals have been hard to come by. Posta Rangers was in action against Ulinzi, and it ended in a barren draw. These two teams can't seem to be scoring at the moment. The rhythm is not going.
I think the two teams, actually, it has been hard for them to score equal. As in, if you trace back their matches, they are now, some are playing, actually, they're around 8. And we'll realize that it's a team that have gone for many matches just registering a draw, either a 1-1 or even a 0-0 draw. It tells you a team that actually is blunt up front and a team that doesn't actually has the firepower up front actually to start giving them results. Their teams need to, their technical bench actually need to start looking for answers.
Yes.
It's good enough that the mid-season has actually opened door for them. If at all is it that the problem lies with their strikers, they can still go back to their drawing board, scout out and get the best strikers who will start giving them results. These are the teams, more so Post Rangers against Zoo. Zoo was their better team, actually. Zoo hit the post like 3 times, if I'm not wrong, going by how they played. But it's only that they were unfortunate not to score. It was by luck that actually Post Rangers caught them and they ended up scoring. It's a team that has not really shown us how strikers should oil up a team and maybe start making them registering results. They need actually to go back to, Pamso need to go back to the drawing board, look for where, as in areas that he need actually to support or fix as fast as possible, now that we are in round 8, and start getting, if at all, they want either to challenge for the trophy or even finish at the mid-table of this particular league.
Shtemi, the other tie that was played, so Mathare United held to a barren score by Bandari. Your thoughts on this tie?
That was not expected because these teams had scored previous matches and Mathare actually had won their previous match. So maybe they thought maybe it was a moral booster coming to, actually they had beaten Zoo, if I'm not wrong. So they thought maybe Bandari would be a walk in the park. But now, remember Bandari are also a team that is under new technician, that is the former Leopards coach Kasambungo, who maybe that was his first match in Nairobi since he left the Den. But a draw for them going back to Mombasa with at least a point, I think it is a well-done job for them. Remember, this Mathare team are former champions, and Bandari have never won the league. So Bandari getting a point against these former champions, it is a plus for them. But now for Mathare, they will go back asking themselves, yes, we have maybe started winning our match against Zoo, and maybe we thought this could be a turning point for us. But here they are, they were denied by Bandari. Actually, kudos to the goalkeeper, the Burundian goalkeeper, and the Komana, who actually kept Bandari into the game. He made a lot of saves that if was it not for him, then Mathare would have won that game.
So let's quickly run through once more the results from March week 9. Wazito getting a 2-1 win against Nzoia Sugar. Mathare United settling for a barren draw against Bandari. And then Posta Rangers also settling for a similar score against Ulinzi. Gor Mahia losing to Vihiga. And then Tusker getting a 2-1 win against Zoo Kericho. Sofapaka got a 1-0 win against City Stars. Kakamega Homeboys with a 2-0 win against Bidco. And KCB getting a 3-1 win win against Western Stima, while FC Leopards settled for a 2-0 win against Kariobangi Sharks. We have two matches that will be coming up on Wednesday. Gor Mahia taking on Zukericho and Ulinzi Stars taking on Mathare United. Gentlemen, before we quickly take a look at these games that we have on Wednesday, let me bring your attention to the top scorers that we have so far. Eric Kapaito, 11 goals. Cedric, what do you make of this?
He has been on good form. He's a kind of a player when given support by the suppliers, that's his midfielders, he can as well as actually surpass the previous number that we have had about the top scorers. But he also need to know that it is all about the individual brilliancy that he will produce in some matches.
Yes.
Like when playing FC Leopard, he had some, let's say, some flipped chances that he could have actually put the ball behind the net,
yes,
but he never utilized those chances. If those chances doesn't come, you end up actually leaving that match without a goal. And remember, if you don't score, as in the pack behind you is putting pressure on you. For instance, right now we are speaking of Rupia.
Yes.
We are speaking of Rupia actually being on 9 goals. Those are just 2 goals shy away from him.
Yes.
If he doesn't score for maybe next 2-3 matches and Rupia scores, Rupia actually will jump frog him.
Of course, he has 11 goals to his name. We'll try and see whether we can get him on the show next week so that he can probably tell us how he managed to rediscover such a fine form. Eshtemi, Rupia, 9 goals for FC Leopards this season.
I think, Robbie, from the look of things and how these two boys have been playing, that is Rupia and Kapaito, there's a chance they can break the record of 26 goals that was set by former FC Leopard and Tusker man, that is Boniface Ambani in 2006, as well as the same record was set by the Gor Mahia legend, Maurice Sonyi Ocheng, that is the father to former FC Leopard player and Chemelil Sugar striker, Victor Ocheng. He scored also 26 goals during the unbeaten title triumph for Gor Mahia in 1976. So they have a chance, bearing in mind that they have already scored, like for Kapita scored 11 goals. So by chance, if he scores 15 or 16 goals in the first leg, then he can look for the rest of the goals maybe in the second leg. If by chance they continue the form he has, same to Rupia, if they continue this form, then definitely it will go down to the wire. Remember also the legs of Henry Major are slowly coming into this mix. Also the legs of Kevin Kimani, though he scores from the sport, same to Eli Asiache. So I expect it maybe to go down to the wire, and whoever will make good use of the chances, definitely carry the day. Robbie, the final one, I think also need to give special mention to the likes of the evergreen alibi of Kakamega Homeboys. He finally got the back of his scoring boot. Same to special mention to 2 defenders.
Yes.
That is Michael Kibwagi of KCB of Sofapaka, yes, and Robinson Kamura, because these are central defenders players. But interestingly, in the past round of matches, they managed to give assists, and it looks similar because the assist that Kamura gave to Rupia is the same assist that Kibwagi managed to give to Ambrose, the substitute who won it for Sofapaka against City Stars.
Cedric, of course, he's mentioned about Elvis Rupia and Henry Major, Elias Seche, and Kevin Kimani. Your thoughts on these 4 players?
Yeah, they need actually to try to give us the anticipation results that we are demanding from them. And more so, we cannot compare all of them and put all of them in the same bucket.
Yes.
Simply because some of them are trading at the center and others are actually the pinpoint strikers. These are now people who, as in players who are armed to give results teams, and some are armed actually to supply them with balls so that the results can start coming. But given a chance, it will be so interesting to see the likes of Elias Seche, who are trading as midfielders, if they can actually surpass the likes of Rupia and Kapaito, who are on the striking end. Because at the moment the midfield actually takes up the role of a striker, then it means that the whole league is actually losing out the value of playing strikers in this team.
And also, as we wind up, Cedric, Gor Mahia will be in action against Zukericho. What should we expect?
That is now actually a huge task on Gor Mahia, given that they are coming from a loss.
Yes.
They will be under pressure actually to beat Zoo. Also, by the other side, Zoo also lost. But the amount of pressure that Goro will be carrying into this particular game,
yes,
it's so much huger compared to the Zoo. Given to the essence that also remember their 12th man
yes,
will be actually out to get result from this particular match.
Yes. Shtemi, Ulinzi Stars versus Mathare United.
That is very much unpredictable because Ulinzi are not scoring goals. Mathare, they have not. They have just scored. They drew 0-0 against Bandari in their last match after winning against Zoo. So for them, they score goals. But now the other end, also the defenders are so tight. So it's going to be so tightly contested, and maybe a maximum, maybe just one goal that will make the difference in that match.
One goal that will make the difference in that match. Remember, two fixtures that we have on Wednesday. Gor Mahia in action versus Kericho, Ulinzi Stars versus Mathare United. Those are fixtures that we'll be keeping an eye on to see who spices up this week when you talk about the Football Kenya Federation Premier League. Gentlemen, that is Cedric Musumba and Roger Sishtemi. Thank you for finding time to dissect the match week 9 that we have when you talk about Football Kenya Federation Premier League, where we saw 16 goals scored. We'll be taking a look, we'll be waiting to see whether more goals will be scored in match week 10. My name is Robinson Okenye. Have a good night.